Let's do it.
Good evening, everybody.
Okay, Scott Carroll said Mega Seg.
Welcome.
He said Mega Seg. Oh my God, did you hear Scott Carroll say Mega Seg? He did last show. I didn't even have to prompt him. It was so incredible.
You bribed him. That's what it was.
No, actually,
him.
I didn't. But okay, I've got it out of my system now. We can start going.
You just made me drink. I have to go to the bathroom again, John.
We'll have to have an intermission. It's like
we are.
Think about a long movie.
All the times you keep saying it. But anyway, welcome. It's Monday night. And this show better be good because we have tried to get this one to go off, and it's either been somebody's been out or we've had tech difficulties or
crazy,
I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know, but finally we're gonna talk music.
So the music we're going to talk about tonight is from DJ Event Planner, who is one of the big sponsors of our channel, DJEventPlanner.com. They are in the links of the description with this video, with some of our other sponsors, Odyssey and ProX and Electro Voice. Got a variety of sponsors there, so you can go check them out and show them some love. But DJ Event Planner is an online planning tool where people can make requests of songs for their upcoming wedding events, which predominantly they're doing weddings. Well, you can do other events and they can make requests. It's predominantly weddings. So what we have been doing over the last number of years is we've been looking at the list when they release it, which would be all of the songs that were requested from like the last year that were in the system, and then the songs that were in the system basically by December 31st, January 10th, whatever, somewhere in that range. Basically, all the songs that were in the system from last year and up to this point for this upcoming season. So you're going to see a lot of the songs that were utilized last year, requested last year, and you're going to see a few songs that were starting to hit for this year. So there might be some weird anomalies like that. This is usually kind of an interesting discussion. But Cubbie came out with an interesting part when we were talking about this the other day. He's like, how much of this list is the same as it was last year? There's a bit of that.
Yeah. I will say, I think there's some truth to that. I think it's worth mentioning. It's almost like a disclaimer here if you think about it. There's a lot of DJs who will share out these lists with their clients, right? Their clients are looking for ideas, and they'll either give them the entire PDF of all the songs, or they'll, give them, certain ideas just to get started. And so couples see this list and they go, oh yeah, that's a good song, I'm going to add that. Oh, that's a good song, I'm going to add that. And I think it causes this cyclic type of I don't want to say problem, but the cyclic type of trend with the music.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's part of it. And then, likewise, like taking and putting it up on websites and going, hey, these are the top songs. And people go, oh, that's a great song. And again, you add it. And because you have some DJs out there who want their clients to provide a ton of the list, like of what they're going to play in a night. And there's others who only want a little. And I think that's because of the scope of who all is a client of DJ EP. You get kind of all types of DJs, right? Like the ones who are going to want that full list, as well as the ones who are just going to get a list from some of their clients. So, yeah.
So Scott, in our last interview that we just did, he started talking about the lists that we used to give. Books is what he referred to it as. Back, Scott would have been starting that wedding in the early 90s, and that's about when I was really starting to get into that. And we would go and because our music selections at that time were on albums and CDs, a few CDs, a couple of tapes, we didn't have a ton of music. You carried maybe 3,000-4,000 songs, whatever it was. But I can remember having a 30-page front and back typed up. It was 3 columns, song title and artist is what it was. And then we had them sorted by kind of genre a little bit. And that's what we would send out back in the day. And people would go through and pick out and highlight and do different things. So when Scott was mentioning the book going out, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. God, I hated that because you have some couples who would be like and highlight 4,000 songs on his 3,000 song list. I don't know how they did it, but they did. And then you have some of them that would go through and they'd highlight 5 songs, and then they would circle them like with pencil. and you could easily miss it. And then at the end of the night, they'd be like, you didn't play one of my songs. And it's like, what? Yeah, on page 23 in the lower right-hand corner. Yeah, that's the song I wanted. It's like, what the? Oh, yeah, I guess I do faintly see a pencil mark around that song. Wow, how could I miss that in the low lighting of this venue? Yeah. Yay, back in the day.
You would send out like the entire
At that
book, and
time,
they would mark.
Yeah, at that time, that's what we did.
Wow.
Then we really got to advanced when we went from having the DBase world where we could actually do some spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheets. Then we would go and have it where it was just like the top songs, similar to what DJ Event Planner has. My first major sample list that actually hit or was used a lot was a front and a back, and it was by genre. So you had your 50s, your 60s, 70s, 80s, and then we'd have a breakout of country, and then we had slow songs. So those were the things, and I believe that list, it went up to the 90s because at the time, the 2000s weren't here yet, and that sample music list that we had, oh my gosh, would that was popular. There were times we were at bridal shows early on, and people would come up and they're like, I'm sorry, but we already have a DJ, but they don't have a list like this. Can we take yours and you? It's like, knock yourself out, have fun, make sure you tell them that they should not suck. But yeah, how that's evolved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's kind of interesting is I don't think I ever, with the exception of like spotlight dances, which is where I think a lot of couples tend to struggle. I don't think I've ever sent a list, even like a big list. Like I know some do and whatever, but I can't imagine sharing out my entire, like even when I had my library broken down and exactly like you did, typed. Right. It was typed into, I don't know if I used an Excel. I think I used Excel. So I could sort. But I would do that. Like I put all the songs and what album they were on. So I knew where to find them. But I don't think I ever would have thought of even just sending them the file. I don't know.
Yeah. It just was, that was a big thing for a long time. And now today you end up, as much as, the top 200 we have from DJ Event Planner is a great tool for us to look at and such, but we also have to realize or look at the realism that many of today's couples are using things like a Spotify, where they're going to a Spotify playlist and they're generating a playlist, and there's some implementation that happens with those lists to our online planner world. But in many cases, they're just they found a wedding list, or they've been making a wedding list, and then they hand you a link. And then it becomes our job to deal with that. And I think that might skew a little bit of the information that we're going to see tonight, because there may be some newer songs. Like, in the chat there, Johnny mentions Shabuzi. Definitely a big hit, and it's been going over really, really well at the weddings. And then I've been doing bars. That is one that goes over really, really well. I don't know if we're going to see it on that list. Or if we do, it could be way down because it just hasn't worked its way up on that list yet. So definitely going to be checking out things. Mikey's with us. Day is with us. Thank you guys for being with tonight. So as Dan, do you have that page up there?
I do. Do you want me to share?
Before we get there, so it's maybe I should see if it'll show that blue bar at the bottom. That's what I want to talk about. Is let's see if we can pop that up, and we'll reset the screen here.
Blue bar at the bottom.
Oh,
of the different types. I follow what you mean.
Yep.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, let's see if that'll.
Everything's bouncing around on my screens.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
There we go.
Show?
There we go. Yep. It's up there, and I'll just switch so you guys can see it. So. The top 200, while interesting, I have found the most valuable things in this and now of course we've got the DJ Event Planner ad that just went over the bottom of the things. What if I can fix that a little bit? If I can scooch this up a bit, there we go. Okay, so now it should scooch up and there we are. Oh, okay. Trying to get things all fixed. So when I've been working, especially with my sons, and they've been doing weddings and things, the top 200 is nice, but I found some of these other areas are much more valuable. specifically like the decades. If they're doing an event and they're doing an 80s thing, that this decades, they can go and I can click go ahead and click on the decades there at the bottom there.
I did.
Oh, right there. It's
It scrolls down to where they start.
Okay, so yeah, so there we go. It's right there. 2020's Shibuzi's right there at number 1. But that idea that they can go and have that information, the top 30 songs that are probably they would be the ones worth looking at. That my children should know, in essence, when they're going out to do events. Basically, these become kind of cheat sheets across the board. And then getting into the special songs area, when you get into the list for the father-daughter dance that Dan was made reference to. There's a lot of good information there. It's just I think one of the things that DJs throw the baby out with the bathwater, I'm going to use that analogy here, is because they look at that top 200 list and they're like, yeah, but that doesn't apply to me. Well, you're right, because it may not be as accurate, but in certain areas it can be incredibly beneficial.
One of the things I think that a lot of us tend to deal with is especially now that we've entered this now that we're like smack dab in the middle of this digital age, right? We've got hard drives that are filled with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of songs, right? And we have this difficulty of we're in the moment and we're trying to figure out what to play and we just get stuck, right? These decades, and I would start with the decades especially. Like, definitely have the top 200, but I think most of us probably have some sort of a folder or crate related to that. But having something with these decades, I think, is also going to be beneficial. We've talked oftentimes, where's that sweet spot with the couples? It's those high school years. So backtracking, you're going to get a decade that's going to fit in that, and you're going to get 30 songs that are great ways to drop in and be within that time period. Is that the only 30 songs you're going to play? I would hope not. But if you take a folder that's got 10,000 songs and you can narrow it down to these 30 and then add where you need, I think you got a great start to pull from.
So Dan, can you scroll up maybe to the 2000s? The 30 from 2000.
Decades, and I'll scroll down. Yeah. There you go.
So it's interesting as I'm looking at that. The people who would have been experiencing that in their early teens years are in many cases now getting into their late 30s, or early 40s. And there's a couple of the places that I have been playing. That's their crowd that are going out to the bars and such. And I was just looking at this, and Saturday night, I had the number 1 song, the number 2 song, the number 3 song, the number 5 song, the number 6 song, the number 7 song, the number 8 song, the number 9 song, the number 10 song, the number 15 song, number 16 song were all requested. 18 was requested. So for that right age group, like you were saying, Dan, this is could be hugely valuable to know if you're playing for, somebody, again, 15, if they had been 15 years old at 2005, we're 20 years, so another 35, that age group is going to know pretty much everything on that page, and they're going to, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy was played, Don't Stop the Music was requested, Fergalicious was requested. God, did I play anything from this list that wasn't requested? No, everything I played from this was requested. That's interesting. I didn't pull anything out.
I will say there's one piece in here that I think is worth recognizing, that is an element that 10 years ago we didn't have to worry about when this list came out, right? And that would be like the influence of the social media or the TikTok trends. For example, I'm seeing Natasha Bedingfield Unwritten, right? Will that work with this age group? Yes. But is that song made a resurgent because of this age group? I'm going to say probably no. I'm going to say it's because of that other audience that's picking it up because of TikTok. So kind of keep those like pieces, not that saying you shouldn't use it because of that, but just be aware that just because something's in there, if it's an older song that's come back, that might be more why. That also would be why, if we looked at this trend from last year, the song probably, or last year's list, that song may not have even shown up on that one. I don't remember when that TikTok trend came about.
Yeah, we definitely. I mean, obviously, we could check that in here in a sec. Scroll down to the '90s, and I think here's another example of top loaders dancing in the moonlight. That would have not have. I lived through the '90s and played in. I never played that song. Back in that time frame, it didn't come back until, what was it? Was that in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy song? Yeah, and that's why. And now that has become that little kind of hidden gem that you can play, and it has that wide variety of appeal. Even though it's not the most danceable thing, people really enjoy that song.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have it wasn't because of kids of the '90s. It was because of a movie a few years back. Trying to see if there's another one that fits that in here.
Was Redbone Come and Get Your Love?
Yep. That was there was another version of it. Yep, or another song, another example. Yeah. 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 Interesting how that. And then as we scroll down to the '80s one, I very seldom get requests for I want to dance for somebody. And I know we've had that discussion. We've talked about it a few times on the show. It just has not been. This year, the song from Whitney, it was the one that it was a remix by
Higher Love.
Yes, Higher Love. Yep, and that one I had that one requested a couple of times here. Oh yeah, there we go. It's number 10. Yeah, Kygo and Whitney. Yep. Yeah, that one I've had. Yeah, it's very interesting how these lists have evolved.
You know, John, though, I am worried for your sake, because I'm looking at this list.
Oh yeah, this list is completely bogus. It's not real, because there's like 6 spots that are missing, the top 6. It's like they started at number 7. I'm just saying.
Nothing from the sports album.
Nothing from the sports. And I mean, let's face it, if you lived in the '80s, you know that the sports album is like right there at the top 6.
Yep.
6. So let's go down to the parents' dances, or the first dance and such. Let's start. Yeah, first dance is the first.
First dance. Okay.
That surprised me that the Elvis came and has not that there's. I didn't expect it to be used. I mean, yes, I did have it once requested this year at weddings. I don't know if it's so much of it's become more popular, or is it because of the diversity of first dance songs that you can win with 10 votes now, as opposed to when Ed Sheeran came out. You needed to, you'd have had to have 100 votes to win, or 200 or 1,000, but whatever it would have been, that type of thing.
I do think I do feel that it's a little different here. Just from the standpoint, right? Like you kind of mentioned, right? The Ed Sheeran and stuff. I think people got burnt on Thinking Out Loud and Perfect and all those. They're still there, obviously, but not like they would have been when they were more fresh. And so as a result, there's not really been some great, slow, new love songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result, I think you are going to see some, trends to go more classic, or there's also this, I'm going to be different. So I'm going to pull something older, and everybody's different by pulling something older, right? Like, I think that's the other direction you go. The other thing that I think that was interesting here is, when we looked at the 80s, right? And you had the Kygo Higher Love, and also with Steve Winfield, like they grouped all that together.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't group that here. Like it's specifically Elvis Presley. It's not the girl.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. You know who I mean, though. Thank you.
Yeah. She. Oh goodness, and I prefer her.
I can't.
I prefer hers, her version myself. But that in the chat room, if you guys can't help falling in love, who is the young lady who sings that? I can hear her singing it. It's all right there, but yeah.
Holly Reinhart.
There we go. Reinhardt. Yeah.
Yep. Hate when my brain just gets stuck on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens.
The other thing that I would use this to help build. I would use this for your couples who happen to be stuck. But the other thing I think that does get a little bit maybe skewed to some of this data for some of these is depending upon how you use DJ Event Planner. So what I mean by that is I'm one of the type of people who I put my spotlight dances into a planner. And so when my couples are selecting it, they're selecting it there. They're not selecting it in the music tab where this is going to pull from, where this is going to be tracked for that from that standpoint. So my spotlight dances from last year wouldn't show up here because they don't make it into that data. I'm not saying any of this is not valid. Please don't take it that way. But I think it's one of those things that sometimes some of those pieces, for example, maybe something that was a little bit more modern or whatever, wouldn't make it on because it's in a different spot for how people are using it.
Mm-hmm. And that could track just even back to the Spotify playlist. That some of those things might, because I don't know about you, but I've gotten Spotify playlists like 2 days before, and there was like no way to even transfer things over so that they would be in an easier way to read than literally sending the Spotify link to Michael and saying, here, I am sorry, but this is what you're going to have to take from that and move it over to the playlist as you go. We don't have the functionality to do that in Virtual DJ.
Well, okay.
I mean, it exists. There are companies that do that. I just don't have. I've not purchased that capability.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I was gonna say it is out there.
Yeah.
And
I'm just, I'm too cheap. I'm that guy who's like, what? There's two sides to the toilet paper. You're welcome. There's a visual for you. So yeah, it's interesting. As you're looking kind of through that list, so the more modern songs, the newer songs on there are country. Some of the country artists. As you're going through there. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, just some food for thought with that. Looking at the like going down to the father-daughter, boy, that list has got to be really, really close to what it's been for the last number of years.
Yeah.
There's just a little change here and there, but not much. And generally, the two lists that what I do is basically I take these lists, and that's what I'm sharing with my couples. And the two that they use the most are the father-daughter and the mother-son. Is they look through that and get some ideas. Probably 2/3 of the time they'll pick something from this. The other they'll be going through this, and then it'll trigger something, and they're like, yeah, we loved the list and it was helpful, but we went with this. And it's like, oh, okay, did you see it here? No, but when we were looking through the list, something came to us. Something to that effect, that people have appreciated it, and it has been a good tool, but it hasn't been the be-all, end-all full answer, because sometimes it'll be like, oh, hey, that reminds me of the song that, we used to dance around the kitchen to. Oh, yeah. So...
One thing that you can do with this, and obviously it takes a little bit of time to set up, but I think it's very beneficial, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from my couples, right? When they get stuck with it, I've in the past I would send them the PDF, or I would send them the PDF of just the whatever section of it was that they were looking at. Like I would pull it out and send them that. And for some couples, they're like, that's enough. But for others, they like the opportunity to hear it. So one of the things that I'll do is for some of these key ones, I will create my own playlist within Spotify of these songs, and then that's what I send over to them. I send them that link because that way, then they can listen to it, right? They can hear what it is that's coming from this, and it helps a little bit with that. Although I will say, I also kind of wonder if, John, I'm getting that other songs that are making their way in because the song suggestion within Spotify.
Oh yeah,
right. They
sure.
get to the bottom of the list, and suddenly it's like, oh, here's another song that fits that, and it's like,
interesting. Yeah, that could definitely
have that song.
Definitely be a huge influence.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's Now, from my perspective, one of the spots that I personally have used probably the most in the last year and a half is going down to the wedding party intro, which I think is the next one.
Yep. There we go. Wedding party dance.
The intro is that. Didn't they have an intro one? They used to have an intro one.
Well, they have introductions. Yeah.
The introductions.
That was up above.
Oh, was it up above? Okay, so I missed it.
Yep.
Yeah. So the introduction one is probably the one because invariably I'm at an event and they're like, yeah, the song that we picked for the introductions, we decided we didn't want to use that one. Okay, great. So what would you like to use? Just pick something, but we found out that we didn't want to use that song because Joni used it at her wedding last week. Okay. But you can pick whatever you want. And of course, that's the time when you've got a complete brain fart because it's only like 5 minutes before you're supposed to start and you just line them up. And that's when and it's like, okay, get back up there. So this list, I have a folder that's introductions. Every time we've used a song for an introduction that wasn't already in the folder, it gets that, you put the song in there, and then this folder or these songs basically are in that. And I go through and update it, and I'll have to listen to what Paul Russell's Little Boo Thing is. Not sure. We'll check it out unless it's got profanity. Then I won't, but put it in that folder. Otherwise, it will go in there and it will be there as that moment of, oh crud, I need something. Yeah, here's one. Great, we're good.
You haven't? Oh, John. Oh, who did it? You would recognize the track. Obviously, I'm not going to play it right now. I'm trying to remember what they sampled. Emotions, Best of My Love.
Oh, okay.
That's the audio. So
okay. Yep. So
that is a track that goes over really well.
I'd recognize it then. So maybe I'm out here in the middle of Minnesota. I miss all the good stuff. It's maybe because I'm stuck in 1983.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Something to that. I don't know.
That would be even willing to bet that on those mixes you've been listening while you've been running, you've heard the tracks.
I would, yeah, probably. That's very, very, very possible. So are there any ways within, you mentioned, of course, taking this and putting it into the Spotify playlist and such. Do you do anything for printed materials anymore when it comes to when for a printed source for your couples? Or is everything digital now? And
everything's digital. Between the fact that they can link with Spotify within DJ Event Planner, the fact that couples are not. Occasionally, I will get a list that is a Word document or an Excel document or something like that. But 90% of the time, when they're sharing out a list with me, they're either putting it into the system. They're sending me a link to their Spotify or their YouTube or their Apple Music, right? Like that's what I get. I get the list from them in one of those forms or fashions. It's so easy for them to add a song to that list that's what 90% of them want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that convenience factor, I think is, and that, I mean, it's kind of like marketing today. You've got to market in 10 spots because there's different people in 10 different spots where they used to all be in one spot. And I think the convenience factor of, well, am I going to get a Spotify list? Am I going to get a Word document? Am I going to get a text message with all the songs? How is it going to get to me? Yeah.
I like the ease of it in a lot of aspects. I can share, when I have these set up, I have them in a folder that I call song suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I just hop into my Spotify. I go to find that folder, and then I hop in, and I'm like, okay, there's Daddy Daughter, there's Mother Groom, there's First Dance Ideas, like all those different processionals, recessionals, like the ones that they just it matters, but they just struggle with.
Sure.
And I can just copy the link and throw it in an email and send it off.
Nice.
And the other nice thing is, right, like after this, when this comes out next year, right? Like I typically don't delete for those specialty songs. I don't delete what was already in there.
Mm-hmm.
I just add to it.
Sure.
And it doesn't take long to add those extra pieces. And now I have a long list for them to look through and utilize and give a listen to and then give me feedback on.
Mm-hmm.
And then what makes it kind of nice too with for some of them, when they have this, at least within Spotify. I don't use the other ones as often, but if they like the song, then they can throw it into their own playlist that they end up sharing with me later. So it's like the less friction, the less difficulty we make for them, the easier it is, and the more likely they're going to use something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very well said. That we like the ease in our own way. Yeah, make it easy and make it like I want it to be. So, the link for this is in the description of the video, where you can go out and take a look at that requested list. There are other lists out there that are similar from other companies that do some online planning resources out there, so you can find your favorite and such. Obviously, DJ Event Planner is a big sponsor and supporter of the DJ industry and of DJNTV, so we definitely appreciate them tremendously. We use their tools, and this list becomes a part of the tools we use to get ourselves ready for the season, to make sure we're not missing a song, and training new DJs. There's so many ways to use it, but again, it's not the be all end all. There might be weddings where you go and you're only playing 10-20% of your night from any of these songs, any of these lists, and there might be nights where you're playing everything on that, or most of your songs are coming from that top 200 list. I've had both.
And that's the thing you just got to keep in mind, right? Like no two events are going to be the same. So if you I was talking about paring down and creating maybe a folder of specialty pieces. Again, that's not your only thing, and that's even if you get playlists from other people, right? Like that's what you have to keep in mind, is that's not going to be the only thing, but it can help you begin that process of narrowing down what you have, so it's not so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. I'm just so disappointed, though, that I'm not seeing anything from the sports album in the top 200. So there must be a little glitch in the system, that they're missing the top 5 or 6 songs. Hopefully they'll get that fixed for next year.
Well, I did notice, like, there's a Garth Brooks. There was something was on one of the, maybe it was the father, daughter, or mother, son. I don't remember, but it was like The Dance. And I thought it was a Garth Brooks song, but it was like by some other artist that I don't even think I've ever heard of before. So I thought, well, maybe that was kind of a weird thing where due to the listing service, it didn't have that artist. But so maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they didn't have.
Maybe there's censorship going on.
Yeah.
The internet is probably changing it to this Earth, Wind, and Fire. Who wants to play September? It's February, by gosh. Alrighty, well, let's wrap up that section, Dan, and then we've had right now down in Las Vegas is they're doing the MEX show, the Mobile Entertainment Expo. Did you get a chance to see any of the pictures from that so far?
I did. Just mainly some setup type pieces, and then right before we came on, I saw a couple of the pictures from the Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like they had quite a few of the folks down there. Did you see the full Hall of Fame? I wonder if they
The full Hall of Fame list.
Not the full the picture of the folks that I'm gonna see if the
I did not.
Did Max put that up? No, they did not. Who would have put that? I'm going to see if I can find. No, it wasn't. Oh, shoot! But yeah, they had a really nice crowd with the Hall of Fame that they had put up. They had put up there. I saw Scott Favor. I haven't seen him in a while. Looks like he was doing the emceeing for that. Casey, who does our Wednesday night show, he was inducted into that. Howard Wallach was inducted. I think I saw a picture of him. Peter Murray I saw a picture of him there. Just quite a few. Yeah, Jeremy Breck. There we saw some of there. So yeah, just a nice little honor for the folks there that were able to make it down for that Hall of Fame tonight. So that was kind of cool.
I found a picture. So I knew if somebody was going to have pictures, it was going to be Diana. For those of you that know her, you know, she's known for her pictures. And for
There
those
we
of you
go.
that
That's why.
don't,
That's why I saw it. I was going to say I know I saw somebody and I couldn't think of who had it. Yeah,
yeah, for those of you that don't know her, she's the one that will take your picture no matter who you are if you just show up at the show. I guarantee it. But there is the DJ representatives for the Hall of Fame.
yeah.
So, and then Alan Berg accepted on behalf of Andy Ibon. Am I
Ebon.
saying it
Yep.
right last name?
Ebon. Yep.
Ibon. Okay. I knew how to spell it. I didn't remember know how to say it. But anyway, so there was the crew from this year's inductions.
So I just kind of going. Who is the third?
That
Yeah.
is Leslie Chutikoff. She's from Canada.
Okay. Okay. So we've got Peter Mary, Jeremy Breck, Leslie, David Hanscom, KC, Scott Screamin' Scott, Bobby Morgenstein back there, and then Howard Wallach, and then Alan Berg accepting for Andy Ebon. And I think Randy Ray was also in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought Randy Ray was inducted. Wasn't she?
Can't help you on that one.
I thought so too. I thought she was.
I think you're right because I think I remember hearing something, but maybe she wasn't able to make it. I know there was also some people who, like for example, Chris Washburn, he was going to fly out of New York and then couldn't get out and flew to or drove to Philly and got a plane out. So maybe could be a flight type of issue depending upon when they
very
left.
very possible. Yeah, I know that Randy had been was having some health issues also. So maybe something. Who knows? But yeah, that was this year's Hall of Fame from Mex. And nice, good crowd, nice event there to honor the folks. Tomorrow we'll kick off. Then the education starts during the day tomorrow, and we'll go throughout the day. And then tomorrow evening, around 4 or 5 o'clock their time, is when the exhibit hall opens. Which this show is all about the exhibit hall. That's a big part of the Photo Booth Expo and the Mobile Entertainment Expo. So there's going to be a lot of information coming out on some of the new gear pieces, which this will be the first time DJs will be able to actually touch and feel some of these pieces. Danny Mac stuff, I saw he's been teasing some stuff. Have you seen anything more on that?
Haven't. He's got something new. I have speculation somewhat of what it is. Just because the cloth, the way it was draped, made me think of another unit that he has. So I'm thinking he took it and he's kind of maybe a hybrid type of thing between that and one of his other units. That's my thought. I have nothing to go off of.
Yeah.
He hasn't shared anything.
Yeah, he's been teasing a little here and a little there. So should be very very interesting. And of course they'll have the Evolve 70 and 90. This will be the first time that. It was at a DJ event last week or the week before, but this will be the first time where it's a larger DJ event where they have those on display. Tomorrow night, Ben Stowe, actually, if everything works out internet-wise, because sometimes in casinos and hotels the internet can be sketchy, but they're going to actually we're hoping to do it from their demo room. And they've got a really they're actually, I think they're repping like 6 or 8 different companies. So they've actually got quite a few. One that we haven't heard of for a while is they're I believe Ben mentioned ADJ, American DJ, that they were going to be doing having some of their lights there. So it's like, whoa, that's been a minute and a half since we've seen them at a DJ trade show. Yeah, so that's kind of exciting because they had kind of drifted away from the DJ industry a little bit, and if they're coming back in, what kind of new things they're going to have, because they've kind of gone off our radar.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Should be a fun show. Looking forward to hearing about what folks see and what they experience down there, because they put it into this nice little room where they're doing the main educational side, where they've got this huge video screen right behind the presenters. Really kind of a cool setup. It would be it was one I wish we could have had back in 2020 when we did down there, because it's like we went from a boring, stuffy conference space with just the plain walls and different things to all of a sudden they've got this screen and it's more of a showroom, truly a showroom. So
I will say that's one of the things that I've noticed about some of these shows is it's just kind of difference the production quality. that's been there, and this, as well as its predecessor, really started to kind of to bring that about. And we're seeing more and more of it coming to the head here. And then some of our other shows that are
Mm.
picking up from that idea. Even like, for example, the some of the smaller ones like the DJ, um, the Pittsburgh one.
That's not the
This was in the
summit.
middle of January. But anyway,
But
that was they did something similar with the big screen behind it, and uh, Harvest of Sound did it as well. So it's nice to see that a lot of these shows are taking that up a notch, so that you know we can see our toys as well as enjoy their education at the
hmm
same time, right?
Yep.
Makes it nice.
Yeah, it is. It
But
definitely takes it up a notch or two with the whole experience, and so yeah, good stuff. So looking forward to more information. Because tomorrow night, Ben should be coming in from Vegas, and then and then I think Wednesday night we'll be coming back. I think Casey was going to be coming to us live from the show there and giving us kind of a day 3 update on what's going on. So
now, have we heard about, is like anybody going to break? I mean, we know Danny Max because he's been teasing it, but have we heard anything in the DJ realm that might be
it sounds like from what I've been hearing in the DJ world is that what's out is out right now, and I think the
okay?
next time you're going to really you may not really hear of anything new from the DJ world. We might have for DJ Expo a thing or two, but it really sounds like we might be going back to a NAM release thing. You know, there'll be lighting stuff will be coming in the fall with the LDI. It sounds
Mhm.
like some of the lighting companies have really liked that, but we may be back into the to the point where they're releasing on that NAM schedule. Now, what is it because of backlog and so much stuff all of a sudden came in, and now they're trying to clear stuff out on a regular basis? I don't know. I mean, as they one manufacturer is saying is that 2020, 2021, 2022, their design team was busy designing. It's just they had nowhere to go with the stuff to a point, and yeah, so it'll be interesting, but yeah, I don't anticipate us seeing much of any. You know, we might see some bedroom DJ level esque gear make its way out, but I don't think you'll see much of anything. Maybe around Expo in August, but for surely by November and then back to January of next year. So
I will say this. I would say, for those of you that have photo booths, I would keep an eye out for that realm,
yeah,
because that doesn't have an LDI, that doesn't have a NAM component, right? Like it's different in that aspect. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's maybe not some like jaw-dropping revelations, but more of an opportunity, right? Like that's where I heard about the audio guest book was a couple years ago at the MEX PBX. We've already talked about Danny Max, and I'm sure there's some others even within the software realm that might be dropping things. I heard Darkroom supposedly is releasing something for those of you that use that software. So um definitely keep an eye, right? If you're like, I want to know what, but definitely keep an eye, because I have a feeling there's going to be some things that we'll find out tomorrow night.
exactly. Yeah, we should be hearing about a few things there, and then we've got some different contacts. I think next week we're going to try to get a couple of folks in there who are walking the floor and can share some more personal experiences from being around to all the booths and such. So it should be good. Well, Dan, I think let's wrap her up and call it a night. And for those of us who have been enjoying a 30 below, well, it's not quite 30 below yet out there, but it's going to get there tonight. So I need to go throw another log in the fire.
So you're saying we should talk a little bit so it gets colder?
Oh
So
yeah,
then
that would be really
you like
pleasant.
run for the house.
Yeah, that would be really pleasant, because I get in the house and they're like, the fire is out and the fireplace is cold and the house is cold, and yeah, it's like, well, you could throw a piece of wood in the stove too, but then again, it's like, well, do I really want to have a 16-year-old throwing wood in the fireplace? Maybe not. Maybe not.
That's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Well, on that note, I guess we should wrap it up. So thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Hopefully you got some inspiration of what you can do with these lists, as well as, making use of them. And as John said, not just taking one list and assuming that all are going to be of that same piece, and then maybe figuring out a way that you could use it both for yourself as well as your clients. So have yourself a good one, and we will see you all next time.
Anyway.
Bye, everybody.